right, welcome back. Cash Crossover Podcast, episode 12 today. We're going to dedicate this to Dwight Howard, D12, and then also John Morant, the
John
changing
Morant.
hearts. The young generations, it's coming. It's here.
It's here.
So why don't we start with that? Round one playoffs. If Luka made it past the Clippers, it would be like the new generation, almost, other than the Nets, right? But we're seeing that. I mean, right now we just watched Game 3 of Denver and Phoenix. Not much talk about blowout. I don't think Denver has enough weapons, right? Injuries are piling up. Thoughts?
Well, going back to your earlier, you're talking about the younger players, right? I just want to say, like, in the West right now, all four teams, like, I think out of all the stars on the teams, the only player that's over 30 is Chris Paul. Because like Kawhi's 29.
Oh, okay.
Kawhi's 29, and then Paul George is 28, something like that, right? So they're not even 30 yet. And like everybody's just under 30, which is pretty crazy if you think about it.
Yeah, I agree as well. All the young players are stepping up for their respectable teams. On the game itself, I totally agree. Phoenix have so much firepower, and just looking at Denver's lineup, they just don't have enough weapons to match up. It's like they're down 3-0, so
I was saying when we were doing a prediction, like you got Campazzo and Austin Rivers as your starting backcourt.
Yeah,
come on.
I feel like
I had a lot of hope.
Yeah, I feel like Denver said for Game 4 they might as well just change their starting lineup. Maybe put is it Monte Morris? Maybe just switch up the starting five just to see if they can get some more offense going. I mean, today's game I saw Will Barton and Monte Morris contribute off the bench, so maybe try something, right? Try anything to see if they can get a game back, and then go on from there. But yeah, Phoenix is they have all the momentum right now. Booker's doing well. I remember one of the plays he just cooked MJP, MPJ, Michael Porter Jr. Yeah, and then Denver, just Jokic by himself, pretty much won first 5. So, yeah, we'll see about Game 4.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon. Like they traded for him to play in the playoffs, right? He had 4 points, 4 rebounds, and this guy was supposed to be like a borderline all-star.
I mean, he did okay on the first series. I guess
he was supposed to be he's supposed to be like the third or the fourth scoring option, right? Like behind Jamal Murray, Jokic, and Michael Porter Jr., right? So now you're telling him to be in a role that is a little bit more, right? And this team isn't constructed where you can just give him the ball and do whatever, right? Because the ball's going to be in Jokic's hands or Porter Jr.'s hands, so it's not going to be in his hand. He just cuts and finishes, right? So if that's not going for him, it's not going, right? Phoenix plays really, really good defense.
And he's been in that role, like with Orlando. He's like number 1 or 2 scoring option, so it shouldn't be so foreign to him.
Well, no, what I'm saying is because he's not the number 1 and number 2. He's number 3 and number 4. And you're telling him to do something entirely different from what he can do, right? So all he's doing is cutting and probably doing spot ups, right? You might think it's easier, but it's like, okay, it's hard to say sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Jay Crowder, he's playing really well.
Oh my god!
You can't deny it. You can't deny it. He's playing his role, and he's doing it well. He's hitting his threes, right? That's like a bonus. Like we know he's gonna play defense, but when he hits his threes, like that changes everything for them.
Yeah. He's my number one most hated player right now. So you can say he could be scoring 50 points and I'll be like, yo, this guy's trash.
Is it because he did the salsa on
The little
LeBron?
salsa. He's like, no, it's not even just that. It's just I think during like his entire career, I've never been a big fan of this guy. Like I think he just talks too much for being such a scrub. Like he's a scrub.
Is Jay Crowder a scrub though? Like to be honest, I mean, like I think I like you know what? Okay, to be fair, I actually always liked him as a player. I think he's a really good teammate to have as a team in a team. Like and I feel like he contribute enough. Like I think his career stats. I think he's averaging like what 12 like 13 14 points. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I feel like he's always been a decent contributor for any team, for all the teams that he's been in, and he always gives you good defense. I feel like the part where he's like kind of like a like you know like the annoying part, like the antics that he get. I think he start having those once he got older, but when he was younger, he's always been like a, giving you 100% effort guy, decent offensively and a pretty good defender. So like I always liked him, especially when he was in Boston.
Oh
But
man,
yeah,
do you remember do you remember when Devin Booker dropped 70 points on him?
no,
And
no, but no, but I'm
and
just
no no
saying,
no no no
no,
no no
but
no.
I'm just yeah, like
Yeah, and then the story is that Booker posted it on Instagram, right? Him scoring 70 points, celebrating, and then Crowder was so salty he had to comment under Booker's post and be like, "You guys celebrating like you guys won the game," and then Booker responded, "You can't guard me," and then
yeah,
now they're on the same team.
yeah. Yeah, no, but I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, just based on that point that, like, you
Yeah,
don't like him, but, like, I feel like
yeah.
he's always been a really good teammate, and a
Mhm.
decent contributor. So, yeah,
No, that's fair. That's fair.
yeah.
But
That's fair.
Alex, would it make you feel better if you remember that LeBron traded for him when he was on the Cavs?
No, LeBron didn't trade for him. LeBron traded him away.
Yeah, but he was LeBron's teammate. They they they
Yeah,
wanted.
yeah. He was what he got. Somehow he went on the team. I don't know how he got on the team. I
Was
forgot.
it not the Isaiah Thomas trade?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was the
Yeah,
Isaiah Thomas trade, and then he was not happy there. He was not happy there, and then LeBron shipped him to Jazz.
no one's happy there. Dwayne Wade, D Rose, come on.
Come
Here with
on,
LeBron, it's
come
like
on.
just go stand over there. Just go stand over
They
there.
want a chip, So it's hey, J.R. Smith and Tristan Thompson is so happy to be there. Why are you attacking me with LeBron, bro? I'm not a LeBron fan.
They were teammates. So
Yes,
yeah, he did a good job.
I'm not a Cavs fan.
But he's I think he's still doing a good job. He's developed his three.
He
Like
is. He's doing a good
that,
job. Like,
that's consistent, right? The last couple
yeah,
of years, right? So that's a huge bonus.
yeah.
But you know what? We gotta talk about Devin Booker. And let's talk specifically Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell, right? Two young upcoming potential superstars. Booker first year in the playoffs, right? Mitchell, we've known like he shines in the playoffs in the last what 4 years, but he's having a crazy playoffs again as the number one seed. So I guess the question is, who are you taking? Who would you take?
You want to go first, Mike?
I would say, yeah. All right, I'll go first. If you want a leader, I would say probably Donovan Mitchell. Um, I think he's I think he's a little bit more over like all rounded than Devin Booker.
Yeah,
Maybe because he kind of like Donovan Mitchell kind of plays that point guard role when Conley's not here, when Conley's injured. So I feel like he can like kind of dictate the team's flow more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for Devin Booker, he's more of a scorer. So he's kind of like a Jason Tatum kind of thing. He needs someone that kind of like control the team. and then he's the one that kind of like score for them.
I think I would compare him to kind of like a Klay Thompson.
Devin Booker?
Yeah, not being able to just control, like you said.
Right? So I think that's my I think the biggest difference for the two players. Donovan Mitchell can run the team. Devin Booker needs a point guard to control, to kind of like create for him. Like he can do the job, but he can't do it for the whole game. But Donovan Mitchell can do it, and just having Mike Conley with him makes his job so much easier. But when Conley's not available, then for him it's like very natural. Like it's just like, oh, like yeah, sure, I'll do it. But for Devin Booker, it's like I can do it, but it's gonna like I need to get warmed up to it, you know?
Alex, who are you taking?
That's very interesting. I didn't think that you guys would have this type of like perspective on Devin Booker. I thought you guys would be more big on Devin Booker being like a guy who is carrying his team more.
I think it's because he's got Chris Paul, right? Like that veteran that's with him.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at that elimination game with the Lakers, if Chris Paul didn't come back into the game, I'm not sure they would have won, even with that big lead.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So, and we've seen Donovan Mitchell like take care of the Clippers by himself a few years ago, like usually in the playoffs. So you trust him.
OKC.
Being clutch and just getting his team over the hump when we haven't seen that from Booker by himself yet, right? I think that's the unknown.
Yeah, like I think for me, just from like the last 4 years, I think I have to go with Donovan Mitchell. Like I can't take Devin Booker, like no matter how much I think how nice his game is, like his pull-ups, right? And like all his moves are so nice, right? But just from like a success standpoint, I understand that Utah is a better team and they have more consistency, like something Mike talked about off the pod, right? But like just being able to be plugged into that role as a rookie, right? And then go into playoffs and then take down Westbrook and Paul George in the first round, right? Like that's pretty impressive. Like I think the biggest knock on Booker right now is still just him not being able to carry a team himself, like into the playoffs or anything like that, right? Like last year in the bubble, it was really great. They won an 8-game winning streak. But then like what happened? What was the season like before that, before the bubble? Like they were a mess.
It's like empty stats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to circle back, right? I don't know if you guys agree with this take on my like for me. I think it shows especially on when Paul was injured, and then Cameron Payne was the point guard that was kind of like taking over the offense, right? I think that shows, right? Like, Devin Booker, you are the second best player. Oh, I mean you're kind of like the second best player in your team.
I think he's the best player.
He's the best, but then I feel like if he can like that take that I talk about how like he cannot lead the team. Like Cameron Payne was the one that was creating the offense. I don't know if you guys agree with that on a couple of those on couple of those games, right? And I feel like someone like if it was Donovan Mitchell in the Suns, he would have took over. Like Cameron Payne wouldn't be the one that always have to bring the ball up, right? He would have just took over that. But for Devin Booker, it was Cameron Payne that was like kind of like facilitating and like giving him the ball. And Cameron Payne actually took quite a bit of shots as well. A lot of the shots as well, like making that penetration. Only when he didn't have the space inside, that's when he like kind of like dish it back out, and that's when Booker got the touches. So I think that like those scenarios kind of also kind of make me have that, like kind of give me that idea or that comparison when I'm comparing Donovan Mitchell and Booker. It's just like, when Chris Paul is not there, you should be the one that is taking the ball, but instead it was Cameron Payne that was like doing that for you. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Well, that's what I was saying earlier.
Yeah.
We were talking about, I think, the playoffs. I was saying his knock is he can't create. He can't pass very well, right? So
Like he can do it, but he's not doing a good job on it, right?
yeah, he's not a great passer, and I'm not sure about his handles. Alex, like you watch him a lot. Like we never see him, take the ball up court and set up the play. Like, why is that? Does he not trust his own handles?
No, I think last season he did that a lot. His assist numbers are definitely higher than Mitchell, but I think it's also like the system, right? The system that they're playing in, right? Like, so I don't entirely trust these assist numbers because, like, last season he had his best. The last 2 seasons he's averaged around almost 6.5, 7 assists a game for Booker, but he was also averaging 4 turnovers a game, right? So that's pretty bad. Whereas for Mitchell, it's his best year for assists is this year. He's doing 5.2 and he's also turning it over 2.8 times. But then I don't know, because I think the knock is that he just had really bad teammates. That's why the passes just doesn't seem to be coming.
But he also doesn't take it off the dribble. He doesn't do that full court, right? To set up the offense.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, like Mike said, get paid, get him cross half court, runs off a screen, give it to him, and then he'll try to do something.
I mean, yeah, but then for Mitchell it's you can say the same thing because he got it easy because there is someone like Joe Ingles that he has had for his whole career, right? That's the one that really helps him, right? Joe Ingles is like a point forward.
Yeah.
So
okay. Something interesting that I was thinking about. Mike Conley, I think this is his last contract last season.
Yeah, he's unrestricted.
Yeah. So no team option, no player option. What are they going to do? They paid him obviously a ton of money, like over 100 million, to come to Jazz, which he hasn't really.
I don't know. Like I feel like there's gonna be a lot of suitors for him. For Mike Conley, he's gonna be affected by his injury history, right? Because he's always been injured every single season. It seems like he never can stay healthy for the whole season. But like we were talking about for the past couple episodes when we mentioned about free agency, there's not a lot of option this year. I think Chris Paul and then Lowry and then Mike Conley. So those are the and who?
Lonzo Ball and Schroeder.
Oh yeah, no, but like I mean like the prime top notch
past prime. These guys are past prime.
Yeah, but the 3 like main player, I guess, for the point guard position is those 3, right? So he's gonna get people teams throwing money at him for sure, right? But I feel like it's gonna really depends on where Chris Paul's going, where Kyle Lowry's going, and then Mike Conley's market's gonna show, right? Like, is he gonna stay in Utah like for the safe bet, or is he gonna go to another team? So yeah.
What do you think about? And I'm just like making things up right now. What do you think about Mike Conley maybe going to the Sixers instead of Sixers taking Lowry? Is Mike Conley a better fit for them because he's a bit younger?
It's about the same. I think it's about the same.
Okay, so Chris Paul has got 44 million player option. We're hearing that he wants to decline it and he's looking for 100 million.
Yeah.
Over like maybe 4 years.
Yeah.
So 25 million. Yeah.
Whoever's throwing him that contract, I don't know. Like, I don't know. What kind of situation does your team have to be in that you're trying to throw you're going all in on a 36-year-old Chris Paul and paying him till he's 40.
Okay, so if you're
Like, what's going
Phoenix,
on?
do you decide, hey, sorry, we're gonna let you walk?
They gotta let him walk.
Really? If they
Okay,
make it to the
look,
Western Conference Finals and you're just gonna let your star point guard walk?
like you're gonna lose all your young core. Like, what? You have to resign Aiton. You have to resign Bridges. Okay, so you're gonna let Bridges walk? I mean,
No,
I
Bridges got
guess
like 2 more years. I think
Bridges trying to get an extension.
Bridges is on the hook for 2 more years.
He
And
wants
then
an extension. So if you sign Chris Paul, so in 2 years you're still gonna be paying him 25, right?
yeah.
So how are you gonna keep Bridges? Like, right, you gotta start planning for the future.
Wow. So Chris Paul's a 1-year rental. That's what you're saying.
It's so hard. It's so hard to like it doesn't make sense, right? Like, well, you put Chris Paul on a 1-year rental and you dump him, right? But then it's like,
Do you
yo,
guys do you guys
how
think
are
Booker will
we?
have a say though? Do you think Booker will have a say on
For sure.
whether the management wants to keep Chris Paul? No, like I feel like Booker will definitely have a say to it, right? Because
Sure, but
like what Clark is saying, it's like you can't okay like you just got some progress on your team, like making it to the conference like semifinal. Are you just gonna leave all your accomplishment, and just be like, oh, 1 year of Chris Paul, and then next year you have no idea what's going on, and right, like the thing is, okay, if they don't sign Chris Paul, they probably need to get a reinforcement on the point guard role because you can't have Cameron Payne as your starting point guard. So are you gonna like do you want to spend money on someone a level be underneath like Chris Paul, like get like you said, like Alonzo Ball, or do you want something that is like consistent, like you want someone that is like around that level of Chris Paul and pay, but then also sacrificing your future and pay that 25 million a year and give him like that 100 million contract. I think that's the thing that the they need to think about, right? Like, because I don't know if there's an upgrade in the market for Phoenix if they don't sign Chris Paul. So anyone that they get, if they don't resign him, is a step down, right? I don't know if you guys,
for
I don't know
short
if you guys agree or not, disagree or agree with that take,
yeah,
right?
short term it will be a step down, but say year 2, 3, 4, what are you gonna do with a banged up Chris Paul? Right? That's kind of like having like that John Wall contract. 40 million for next what?
No, that's like the Steve Nash contract. Like, what are we talking about here? Like,
But
like this Steve Nash Lakers contract. That's what it reminds
You
me
got
of.
paid way less though.
Yeah, but like what I mean is like that's what it is, right? Like you are paying Steve, you traded a bunch of picks, and you're paying Steve Nash a bunch of money. Who he can't even he broke his back lifting luggage off the plane. Like he hurt his back, he strained his back, he couldn't play the season, and then like what the heck?
Okay, so if you have
but
100 million, right? So let's just say you got 100 million. Chris Paul is 100 million 4 years. If you say no to him, would you take this and go to Lonzo Ball? Hey Lonzo, we give you 25 a year because that's probably what he's looking for, probably more than what he's looking for.
Yeah.
So you do Lonzo Ball.
Hey, look, like if I James Jones, right? James Jones is GM, right? If I'm James Jones, like I'm gonna bank on the fact that like whatever Chris Paul did for these guys this season is gonna rub off on them for the rest of their careers. Like Cameron Payne, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, right? Aiton, all these guys, they're experienced now. They've been to the Western Conference Finals,
Yeah.
maybe even the finals. So now we don't really need this like this. They're not rookies anymore, right? They have this experience.
Okay, so now Chris Paul's like, well, if you're not gonna give me 100, I'm gonna take my 44 next year. So he takes the player option.
yeah, oh hey, but in that case,
that's fine.
yeah, no, but in that case, that's a win, right? That's a win. That's a win for Phoenix, though, right? You take
that is
like you take the 44 million player option. All right, I like we can like contend again next season, right?
Oh no, I'm actually gonna sit out. I don't feel so good now.
Nah, he's not
I'm
gonna sit
gonna just rehab my injury.
But I think if it happens in that scenario, it's a win for Phoenix still. But
It's a win.
then the part where they need to do their part is start looking for plan B after that year. After that, the next season, right?
Okay.
Because you don't want to be held hostage, right? Like I don't want to like make it so like exaggerate. I mean, sorry, exaggerating the situation, but yeah, like that's the part for James Stone to do, right? It's like, okay, so Chris Paul's gonna take the play option. So now I need to plan ahead for the season after. Like who I'm gonna target in the free agent market for like a point guard, right? Is there someone internally that they can upgrade to promote? I mean, to like kind of get them into that starting role, right? But if not, then they need to start looking, right? Maybe make some trade, like see if they can get someone from another team, right? So I think that's the part, right? So for me personally, I just think yeah, that's a win if Chris Paul take the play option. But if Phoenix decide to go, another route, it's not a bad. There is option like what Alex was saying. Lonzo Ball, I don't know if he's worth the 25 million, but if he's the next player that is available for them, yeah, maybe they will have to like just at least put a bid on it, right?
I agree 100% with you guys. You shouldn't sign Chris Paul to an extension. And this is like I've been saying this, like they never should have given Russell Westbrook that contract. And they never should have given John Wall that contract. And look where it's got them. So if James Jones doesn't do this, he'll be like the first person to kind of break that mold of giving his star point guard or not giving his star point guard that extension.
Well, I mean, it's a little different for John Wall and Westbrook, right? They are on the decline, but they're not 36 years old, right?
And it is still the worst contract. It's like
yeah. I agree. Okay, entertain this, guys. Say James Jones says no to your 4-year, $100 million contract.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul's like, you know what? I'm gonna take that 44 million, right?
Yeah.
And James is like, you know what? Since you're not trying to play for us because you're gonna do all that, let me package you to another team that needs a 1-year rental to try to make the playoffs. I'm gonna trade you to like the Pelicans.
Yeah. Well, no one's giving 44 million back though. You gotta give it back too, right?
Who did they get? Who did Phoenix
unless
get back?
Phoenix gives you like draft picks? Unless you give us draft picks.
But there's some teams that don't even cut the poverty line that can take it. You know what I mean?
Does Thunder still have like payroll?
Yeah. OKC's got. Okay,
no, so not gonna. OKC's not gonna take him back.
No, but I'm just saying, like, is there a team that actually have a lot of payroll to take his contract though? If
yeah, you got New York, you got Sacramento, Charlotte, Detroit. Not even Detroit. Charlotte, Sacramento, New York, and OKC. Those
all right.
The lowest.
You know what? Like just for the fun of it, imagine if New York take that 1-year rental though.
I can see New York doing that.
Right? Like, okay, like you need like a star attraction. There you go, Chris Paul.
Think about the economic value Chris Paul brings in with when they get into playoffs.
Yeah, like I like even though like, it sounds really far fetched, but yeah, Chris Paul in the Knicks jersey, that's box office, right? And Knicks have a lot of money, right? So they're supposed to be going for a star this summer. So if they can get Chris Paul somehow, pair him up with another superstar, hey, that is like a dangerous team, right?
Okay. New York has got on the books only less than 50 million. So Chris Paul can decline his player option and just sign straight up with New York.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that that is intriguing. Like Chris Paul in New York, like that's the headline right there, right? It's just CP3. And then I'm sure he's gonna be able to attract a star with him, right? I don't know who, but like yeah, it's interesting. Like it's an interesting scenario. If he, and I don't see why he wouldn't go. Right? It's like you want endorsement. Yeah, there you go. That's all the endorsement you need. Right? The biggest market in the USA in the States.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, that I never thought about that, but yeah, that is a prime destination right now, especially with a good year from New York Knicks, and like it's kind of like a brand new franchise, right? With the management team all revamped. You have Thibodeau, who's a really good coach. If you add Chris Paul in there, leading the young team, like leading the young players, it's only gonna go up, right? Like at least they're the projectile, yeah.
So you're gonna give him 100 million if you're New York.
Hey,
yeah, he's gonna bring in more than $100 million.
Will pay, right? Dolan's gonna get double the amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, his jersey sales probably gonna be like $200 million in jersey sales.
Just Spike Lee is gonna get him that money, man.
Like, let's be real, man. The amount of Chris Paul jerseys that's gonna be in New York, that's crazy.
Well,
I can't even imagine.
Well, here's the thing: New York always does this kind of crap, like take on like old, washed-up players.
Yeah, but Chris Paul actually have a good image though. So he's not like Stephen Marbury, right? Or Amari Stoudemire when he was like
old Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
They took T-Mac, like they take all the guys that can't play anymore.
Mm-hmm. All right, I guess we will cap off the podcast right here. Hopefully we'll see. I want to see Chris Paul in New York. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, it'll be fun to
see.
They
make the finals. If they get into finals, I think they gotta pay him and bring him back.
Really? Okay.
Or if they win the championship,
they will try. I think like they have to at least
win
try.
the championship. Will they bring him back?
They will bring him back if they win a championship, but they're not winning the championship.
Well, they're about to play Denver.
Yeah. They can get into the finals. So if they're playing against if Kyrie or KD gets hurt, then maybe yeah. But if they're not getting hurt and it's this same roster, I don't see them beating the Nets.
They're good. I give them credit. They are resilient. They're
good.
They hit their shots when it matters, and they're resilient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's surprising for such a young team.
Yeah.
All right, wrap it up.
Yeah, episode 12 in the books. As per usual, appreciate you guys. All right, see you guys next time.
Thanks.